From WJZ, this is breaking news.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Two sources confirm to CBS News that former President Donald Trump has left the hospital after the terrifying shooting at his rally here in Butler County, Pennsylvania. It's unclear where he goes next. The FBI is now leading the investigation into the deadly shooting as an attempted assassination of a candidate.
Said, take a look at what happened.
Secret Service agents rushed former President Donald Trump off stage after shots were fired, moments after he began speaking at a Saturday evening rally in Butler County, Pennsylvania. The Secret Service says a man attending the rally was killed. A doctor standing nearby tried to help him, performing CPR.
The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here.
Trump raised his fist as he left the stage. On his Truth Social site, the former president said he was shot by a bullet that pierced the upper part of his right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin, he wrote. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening.
I just hear these 4 shots and everybody's screaming drop, and you can see the blood like splatter on his face, and the Secret Service just barricades him.
The Secret Service says the gunman was outside the cordoned-off area of the rally, standing on an elevated structure, and that he was shot and killed by a member of the agency's counter-assault team. A large number of Secret Service agents is in Milwaukee right now ahead of the convention. They're trying to piece together what happened here in Butler. President Biden spoke a couple hours after the shooting.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this.
This was Trump's last rally ahead of next week's Republican convention in Milwaukee. He was taken away in a motorcade and again held up his fist as he got into his SUV. Now, multiple sources confirmed to CBS News that planning is currently underway to expand the perimeter of the Republican National Convention to create larger buffer zones around the events. The convention kicks off on Monday. For now, reporting from Butler County, Pennsylvania, I'm Lauren Linder. Back to you.
And Lauren, we'll check back in with you in just a couple of minutes. Earlier this evening, former President Donald Trump issued a statement posted on the Truth Social platform saying in part, I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately something was wrong and that I heard a whistling sound, shots, and I immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America.
In meantime, current Vice President Kamala Harris weighs in, stating in part, quote, violence such as this has no place in our nation. We must all condemn this abhorrent act and do our part to ensure that it does not lead to more violence, end quote.
Now, look, there's a lot of information to digest regarding this attempted assassination. So let's recap what we know right now. Former President Donald Trump, again, rushed off stage, as you can see, after shots were fired at his rally in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Now, on social media, Trump says a bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear. The Secret Service says Trump is now safe. Law enforcement confirms 2 people are dead, though, the suspected gunman being one of them, along with an audience member. 2 spectators, we know, also critically injured in this, and authorities investigating this shooting again as an attempted assassination. Now, law enforcement sources told CBS News the suspect was shooting an AR-style rifle from 200 to 300 feet away, adding that suspected shooter was on top of a shed just outside that security perimeter set up by the Secret Service.
I was about 100 yards back in the standing room area, where I could see Trump speaking. And as he, probably maybe 10 minutes into it or so, I'm not sure, just heard a couple of shots come from the left side. It would have been from Trump's sort of right side. And then it sounded like Secret Service or somebody started returning fire because it was like automatic, boom, 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 going. And then everybody hit the ground. By the time I got up, they were already rushing him out. And after the first or second shot, it seemed like it came across maybe the whole seating area and hit one of the John Deere or maybe a hydraulic line, because all this hydraulic or something started shooting out of a line.
As you heard, horrifying for those people there. Real quick, Butler is about 30 miles north of Pittsburgh. Now, Governor Wes Moore has issued a statement on that matter, saying in part, quote, political violence is unacceptable and against what our country stands for. This kind of cowardice must be roundly condemned by all Americans. And what happened today to President Trump is abhorrent and should never be tolerated, ever.
Mayor Brandon Scott posted on X stating political violence, gun violence, and any violence has absolutely no place in American democracy. I condemn the attempted attack on former President Donald Trump, which is troubling escalation in the increasingly dire state of our politics.
And we want to turn now back to reporter Lauren Lindner, who joined us at the top of the show. She joins us live again from Butler County, Pennsylvania tonight.
And Lauren, we are digesting all of this information together. You walked through a very calculated explanation of what happened. We're curious, though, back here with the FBI investigating the shooting as an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. Walk us through what the crime scene looks like at this hour.
Well, currently, Christina and Rick, we're not able to see a lot of the crime scene right now. We are out here at the Butler County Fairgrounds, where currently you can see that there's state police behind me that is blocking off the area where the event occurred this afternoon. Now, we were reporting on the scene here when all of this happened. We heard the shots ring out. People were starting to run away from the scene. We went to the ground. Some people started crying. It was a very intense scene, to say the least. And right now, shortly after that, we were told to evacuate, and we have not been able to get back in since that time. As we know, that gunman was not on this property, was cordoned off in an area away from where Trump was speaking. So that is a separate crime scene. So there's definitely a few different areas that the FBI and other agencies assisting them are investigating, but we have not been able to get back to where we were this entire day, waiting for the president to speak, or for the former president to speak, and then when he finally took the stage.
Again, Lauren Lindner joining us now live from Butler County, Pennsylvania. Lauren, I know that you were there today. Again, just recapping for our viewers, the former president says he was shot in the ear and hit by a bullet. We know a member in the audience was killed in this. We know kids were at that rally, a lot of children who were there. People described hearing screams of horror, certainly nauseating and traumatizing for the people who were there in attendance. Families that you spoke with, what are they telling you tonight who were there?
They're shaken up. We're shaken up as well ourselves, having also been there and hearing the shots ourselves. I think that I spoke to a mayor in Butler County who is also shaken up. I think it's just an emotional time for everyone right now.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much. There is a whole lot of information that we need to digest together here, so let's go ahead and recap what we know right now. Former President Donald Trump was rushed off the stage, as you can see here, after shots were fired at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. On social media, Trump says a bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear. The Secret Service says Trump is now safe. Law enforcement confirms that 2 people are dead, one being the suspected gunman and an audience member. 2 spectators were also critically injured in this. Authorities are investigating the shooting as an attempted assassination. Law enforcement sources told CBS News the suspect was shooting with an AR-style rifle from 200 to 300 feet away, adding the suspected shooter was on top of a shed outside of the security perimeter set up by the Secret Service.
Well, the initial thoughts, obviously, anytime there's any type of shooting or targeted violent event, especially in a crowded place, and more importantly, even now during the the presidential election season and during these presidential debates and some of these different presidential and political gatherings, it's even more important now to understand that the safety and the security parameters around these types of events. My initial reactions when seeing something like this is that it's a great platform for someone who is looking to make an impact, who's looking to hurt a lot of people.
Back here in Maryland, Maryland House Representative Jamie Raskin has also released a statement saying, in part, political violence is categorically intolerable in American democracy. We all hope former President Trump is safe and that no one else was hurt. We are grateful for the law enforcement response and hope they get to the bottom of this horrifying attack and how it happened. Senator Chris Van Hollen also has something to say about all of this. He says, quote, there is no place for political violence or violence of any kind in our nation. I'm relieved the former president is safe and keeping all of attendants in my thoughts. Grateful for law enforcement's quick response as well.
And look, this is certainly a rapidly developing story. Just in a couple of minutes ago, we know CBS News reporting that President Biden has spoken to former President Trump tonight. As soon as we get more details on that, we will bring it to you in this newscast. But once again, here's what we know on the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Trump was rushed off stage after those shots were fired at his rally today. That rally was being held in Butler, Pennsylvania. That's about 30 miles north of Pittsburgh. And today, Trump said in a social media post he was injured when a bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear. The Secret Service says Trump is now safe, and his campaign said he was checked at a local hospital. Now, Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., told CBS News his father is doing fine tonight. The U.S. Secret Service confirmed 2 people are dead, the gunman and an audience member. 2 spectators we know critically injured as well. U.S. Secret Service personnel neutralized the shooter, who is now deceased, the agency said. And again, authorities investigating this shooting as an attempted assassination. Law enforcement sources told CBS News the suspect was shooting with an AR-style rifle from about 200 to 300 feet away. That gunman was on top of a shed just outside of the security perimeter, which was set up by the Secret Service and law enforcement. Now, one man who spoke to CBS News identified himself as an emergency department physician who described someone who appeared to have been shot in the head. Take a listen.
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood, and he had brain matter. And so I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. I got people there really helpful. I got
Was there only one person shot that you saw?
Then I did CPR, did chest compressions, as well as I breathed for him.
The story's just nauseating. In a statement on this shooting, Mayor Brandon Scott says, quote, saving democracy is going to require all of us, and it's more important than ever in this moment. It's also another reminder of the devastating impact gun violence has in every part of our society on a daily basis. Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown also issued a statement saying, in part, my thoughts are with former President Trump and the families who have reportedly lost their lives. We must remain united in condemning violence in all of its forms. Senator Bill Ferguson will pull his up, also issuing a statement tonight saying, in part, this is not the country I want. This is not who we want to be as Americans for the rest of the world to see. At this moment, my thoughts are with the former president and his family as he recovers from this terrible attack.